The official teaser list for Unfinity has just been revealed, and the set looks absolutely insane. You're not ready for it. In fact, nobody's ready for it.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well, because we have gathered to talk about the upcoming Unfinity set. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be getting the official spoilers. But before that, we get the mega teaser list. Now, if you don't know what these are, Mark Rosewater will give us little snippets of parts of different cards. Now, this is way more exciting this time around because unlike previous unsets, half the cards in this set are uncards that you can only use in crazy unscenarios, but half the cards are real Magic cards that you can use regularly, right? And so some of these abilities sound wild, and it makes you wonder, what style of card are they on? Now, let us dive into the list. It is much bigger than usual. So, some of the things you can expect from Unfinity. A card that can become over 500 different cards for the turn. 500 different cards is a very interesting kind of suite of choices. It can't be based specifically just on the card's name, right? Because there are over 20,000 different options. So what specifically has roughly only 500 different options? Is there a particular creature type where there are 500 goblins, 500 elves, and this can literally become any elf? Like, what is the deal with this? That's a really interesting idea. Next is a card that enchants your graveyard. And that feels strange because normally an enchantment that would affect your graveyard would either be something that would sit in play as a regular enchantment or would be like a curse, an aura attached to a player. Having something enchant a graveyard specifically, I don't know mechanically how that would change anything. So for me, that one could be something that's super exciting or could literally just feel like a rehash of something we've already seen. After that, we've got a card that requires you to use pantomime, like, oh, I'm trapped in a box, oh, all that kind of nonsense. So miming, I mean, people love that, right? That one, depending on what the card does, that could be fun. I mean, the uncards are goofy nonsense. If you've played, not really so much with Unstable, but Unhinged and Unglued, they were really wacky, and the events that you played in with them were a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to encapsulate more of that, because Unstable felt very tame, and this is kind of feeling like Wizards is pushing it again, and I like that. After that, an enchantment subtype appears on an artifact for the first time. So, I don't know, is it maybe an aura artifact? I don't know what else that would be. An enchantment subtype that appears on an artifact. That's interesting. And that clearly doesn't automatically have an feel to it. That could just be like a regular style mechanic. After that, a new sub-game card in a color that's never had one. So you have sub-game cards like Scheherazade or Enter the Dungeon, which basically say, stop playing the game of Magic you're playing right now, grab your deck and play a new game of Magic with what's left of your deck, and then you'll come back to the original game with the winner of the previous mini game getting a bonus in the full-on game. I had a buddy whose goal was basically to just go, I'm going to go Scheherazade, fork, just copy it a bunch of times to just cause all these insane mini games. It's just ridiculousness. So at this point, we only have one for white and black, if I'm not mistaken. There's only 2 cards that let you play sub games of Magic, and I hope that this one is better than Enter the Dungeon, because while it's funny to say play a sub game of Magic under the table, it's not so funny when you're getting under the table at an LGS full of questionably washed human beings. Let's put it that way, okay? Do you really want to be down under the table? It's like, wow, this dungeon has a particularly dungeony smell to it down here, doesn't it? So, just like the Heirloom Wrangler, where people started taking their pants off at Magic tournaments, that's also it's not the best choice, right? Anyhow, let us move on to the next thing that we have on the list. And this is really weird. A card that can make one of 5 different artifact tokens that each don't do anything. So apparently you have 5 different options for artifact tokens, and they all do nothing. Hopefully there's some purpose to that. I have no idea. It's something goofy, right? After that, an outside assistance card where the person assisting doesn't even know. So there are uncards that say things like, hey, ask somebody outside of the game to give you a high five. If they give you a high five, then do this. That's an outside assistance kind of card, right? So in this situation, it's going to be based on something outside of your game, but the person who's involved doesn't actually know. And that is very curious to me. Is it going to be like, is there somebody wearing like clothing nearby of the type that you need, or hair color, eye color? What is it? What are they going to go with? There's a lot of options for that. That one obviously feels like an uncard. Then you've got a common command. So to me, commands are something where you get like a range of 4 different options to pick from. But a common one means that it's probably not very strong. So a common card that can do 4 things, basically. Think about it that way. And then you've got over 10 new named abilities, including Best in Show, Gear Up, and Parade. Now, Un is a place where they can get way crazier with the mechanics. So there's no real way of knowing what these will be. I remember Beast in Show from the other unsets. But anyways, after that, a card that can make multiple Stormcrow tokens. If you haven't been around Magic long enough to know, Stormcrow is a meme for being a piece of garbage. 1 blue and 1 for a 1/2 flyer. So it's just kind of been a running gag. So we'll have something that makes Stormcrow tokens for people who want that. Didn't we already get a Storm card that did that? They're not just bringing that back, are they? I guess it doesn't automatically have to be new cards on this list, right? A cycle of fill-in-the-blank cards. So that's fun. Obviously you just write in whatever word, probably on your sleeve or something like that. I think they had one where you could write names on a card, like specifically just in the name slot before, but is that it? I don't know. There was a card that let you choose a phrase, too. There's so much stuff, man. They've made so many cards over the years. I can't remember it all. Anyways, after that, we got multiple cards that let you win a prize. I imagine the prize is just some kind of like you gain life, draw a card or whatever. They had the water gun balloon game kind of thing with the previous unset. So something in that vein, I wouldn't be surprised to see, considering we're dealing with like a space carnival. So that's a perfect fit for that. This next one, a creature ability gets converted to a land ability. That could be anything. One ability that exists out there on a creature somewhere will now be on a land. All right, so that's all right. Who knows? That's probably some like regular everyday kind of thing. But the next one is really, really interesting to me. A planeswalker that doesn't do what you say. And it's like, well, how does that work? A planeswalker that doesn't do what you say. Nah, man, I like that because I've always thought of planeswalker cards not as you're like actually summoning them up and forcing them to work for you. I've always felt like planeswalker cards represent that guy's your friend. And you're basically saying, yo, come help me out, right? And he's like, okay. And if you ask him to do stuff that he likes, that's his loyalty being increased. Like, oh, okay, cool, man. Yeah, I'll hang out with you. But then if you ask him to do something that takes a lot of work, like a big loyalty ability, that eats up the loyalty. So he's like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore today, man. You asked me to move a bunch of stuff around your house. I was having fun at first when we were just breaking plates out in the yard. But then you were like, come on, man, let's move my couch. And I'm like, you've used up my loyalty. I'm departing. So the idea of a planeswalker that when he shows up, already is like it's having a friend who's just like, oh, I don't even want it. Whatever it is you want to do, I'm contrary. I want to know what this one's about. I'm excited. All right. After that, a card that makes flying cat tokens. And don't we already have stuff that does that? That's fun in one way, I guess, but also kind of, all right, standardized. A cycle of cards that cares about certain objects you can see from your seat. Oh, that actually feels like MetaZoo. MetaZoo has a lot of elements where it's like, yo, are you near a forest? Are you fighting against a teenager? Do you have a child? Some of the conditions are wild. But anyways, so we got something along those lines going. Another spell that lets you open a booster pack. So there's already been 2 that let you open booster packs. And we're going to get a 3rd one now. And I like those. Those are a lot of fun. It's a great way to keep loose boosters around and just go, all right, in the middle of the game, let's do it. I throw that kind of stuff in the cube because it adds some spice. But if you don't have packs, then obviously it makes the card far less useful. So after that, we've got a card that gives you a resource to pay costs that no card has ever granted before. Again, interesting, but also nebulous enough to not really elicit much comment. A card that asks an outside person to rate something on a scale of 1 to 5. So that's going to be another outside assistance, and maybe that will determine, I guess, the outcome. Maybe it's a destruction spell, and if it's like they get a high rating, then they're, you don't get to destroy it. I have no idea. It could be anything. Between cards and stickers, over 25 non-evergreen, non-deciduous mechanics are returning. Okay, so real quick, evergreen mechanics are mechanics that are always coming back. So you always see them. First strike, flying, double strike. The stuff you would be shocked if you didn't see it in a set. Deciduous are abilities that you see very frequently, but aren't guaranteed to be in absolutely every set. So they're saying, forget all the abilities you see every set. Forget the abilities you see frequently. We are bringing, how many was it here? 25. Over 25 older mechanics are coming back. And I mean, they could literally be doing that old dinosaur trick they did where they slapped all these terrible keywords on one card. So you can put like 10 keywords on one card, but still, that many coming back is super exciting. I'm curious to see how this is going, especially since with it reaching both into and the regular world of Magic, who knows what mechanics are coming back and what's going down. Are we seeing some infect action? I don't know, man. There's a lot though, so let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about rules text that shows up on cards. So, an opponent tells you a statement about themselves and secretly notes whether it's true or false. So this is definitely going to be some like gaming the system kind of stuff, but they do have to write down true or false, so it still turns into a 50-50 kind of thing, even if they're lying about themselves. And I actually remember in the Unhinged event, the last event came down to crazy nonsense like this with silly cards where it's like, okay, you've got to guess my middle name and all this, like just silly, crazy. It's just fun, man. I love it. I love unnonsense. This has me hyped up. All right? So each player in an ungame who can hear you may bid life. So if you're playing uncards, like especially at like a release event, anyone around you can get in on it. And they did this before. In Unhinged, they made a card that lets you destroy any silver bordered card you can see from your seat. And almost everybody used it in the spirit it was created for. Nobody used it to get a tactical advantage in their own game. They always used it to monkey about in other people's games, because you have no idea how hilarious it is to look over at the game that's going on beside you and go, all right, I'm going to cast this, bam, and then they just point over there and I'm like, I'm going to smash your card. Like, what? Yeah, that just got destroyed. And they read it and they're like, oh, get out of here. And I'm like, yeah, you're about to get hosed now. Like, or then it happens to you and you're just like, oh, come on, man. It's like, that is a lot of fun. And it's the kind of experience you normally don't get to have with Magic. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're on the fence about give it a chance. Go out to an event and play. You will be surprised at how engaging and enjoyable it can be. And you might see some loud, ridiculous old wizard at the edge of the table yelling and having a ball, right? It is so... Anyways, let's keep going. I'm telling you to go play. We're not even done through the list here, right? Let us continue onwards. What's next? Where X is the greatest number of stored results on it of the same value. Okay, so I guess it just keeps track of a bunch of different numbers and uses the highest number. It's like computer code, except by creatures with flavor text. All right, okay, so caring about creatures that have flavor text, I like that. For each item in its art that's not touching card name, another item or the card frame. Wait, what? For each item in its art that's not touching card name, another item or... Okay, that's weird to me, all right? As long as card name remains tapped, that effect doesn't end. Well, that's... I mean, a very standard thing in Magic. Tap target creature, as long as this guy stays tapped, your guy doesn't, so that's nothing crazy. As card name enters the battlefield, choose a word with 5 or more letters. All right. Hey, target non-brushwag creature. Brushwag has become more of a meme over the years, and it makes sense. Brushwag is a ridiculous creature. Ask a person outside the game to choose which of them is most like a rock band. Okay. All right, some of these, like, I read them before, but reading them again, they're really hitting home. This is fun. Using the first letters of the names of permanents you control. Weird. As long as 3 or more hands are touching card, 3 or more hands are touching. Okay, so you got to get another person to touch it with you. Strange. First strike and a sword, vigilance and a shield, menace and mean eyes. What? That's what it says as the text on one of the cards. First strike and a sword, vigilance and a shield, menace and mean eyes. All right. With the same artist and different names. Oh, cards that care about having the same artist but different separate cards. I like that. With hashtag guess that magic card and no other text. So, oh, what? What? Is there some kind of automated, like, do you put guess that magic card and it changes the rules text of a card and then you can randomly generate it or something? Oh, neat. Any number of printed clown robot tokens that aren't touching each other that you hid on the battlefield. Wait, what? You hide printed clown robot tokens that aren't touching each other. Okay. All right. Buckle up. This is nutty. Choose A through M or N through Z. Or Z for Americans. That's, I guess, some kind of probably wrath effect. You know, destroy all permanents alphabetically, like alphabetical typhoon or something, you know, with a much better name than that. Why did that make me think of Vash? Oh, because he's the humanoid typhoon. Okay, let us continue on with the list. What do we have next? If the cracks in card names art are completely covered. What? You got to cover the art? I guess maybe you get to play cards on it. Maybe you throw cards. Are we doing any of that? Woo. An opponent chooses the fastest, the scariest, or the weakest. I wonder how this is. There's just not enough information. And because I'm so insane, this is way crazier than any normal teaser list. As card name enters the battlefield, choose a named magic character. Cool. Like you can go like Gerard or Hannah or Squee or Karn or like whoever you want. I like that. I like that. Wait, what? When you draw yourself, you win the game. When you draw yourself, you win the game. What do you put a card with your own name or draw yourself on a card, put it into the deck. When you draw it, you win. And then reminder text, guys. Anything with 2 or more capitalized words in its name that begin with the same letter is alliterative. Oh, all right. Interesting. A top is an outerwear garment worn on the upper body. Oh, we're talking about shirts this time instead of pants. All right. The card, not your head. Maybe it's put a card on your head and you gain a bonus until it gets knocked off. And they mean the card gets knocked off, not your head gets knocked off. That's my guess, right? Pretty random, but I'm going to go with that. Next thing, they can't be blocked except by creatures with horsemanship. So does that mean that we're actually getting horsemanship? Because they said a bunch of abilities are coming back. So that probably means horsemanship is returning. But it could be some weird ability that just says you can't be blocked by creatures, except by creatures with horsemanship without being horsemanship, which would be even stranger, right? Then you got align the tops of both cards to check. Don't explain anything else. You choose targets. Weird. That's all right, man. This creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or being blocked by a creature that comes after it alphabetically. That's funky. Wait, there was a card like this before. Is that a reprint? I think we might have seen that before. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and Y. Oh, is there a Wheel of Fortune? Like actually like the game, not the card? That'd be cool. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each clown you control. Clowns matter. It has total power, total toughness, combined mana cost, all text boxes, names, art, and so on. Oh, I wonder if this is just like this creature is every creature, and you just add everything together. Kind of like that Griselda that let you steal abilities before. Card name divides the battlefield into alpha, beta, and gamma sectors. That might be like Raging River, where with Raging River you had to decide whether your creatures were on the left or right side, and they could only interact with creatures on the same side. So maybe there's different sectors of space, and you can only interact with the sector of space you're in. Each time you gobble, take a bit of food or sacrifice a food token. Oh, so they've given eating an actual mechanical term, because we've had previous cards that care about you eating. Gobble is now, I guess, a mechanical term for it. You can have 2 commanders if both have partner. Okay, that's very random. I guess, are they just reprinting? Oh, wait. Commander partners? That's new, right? They've made planeswalkers that can be your... Oh, wait. You can have 2 commanders if both have partner. Never mind. My brain misread that. I thought it was saying 2 Commander Planeswalkers as partners. That's normal. I got all excited about nothing. What? Okay, anyways. It becomes 2/2, then 1/1, 1/2, 1/2, and so on. Oh, it's an infinitesimally shrieking creature, right? It becomes a quarter, then an eighth, then a 16th. That's fun. About 0.3 meters. Okay, some random reminder text. I guess, is that supposed to be like a distance you can measure? Creatures in a log together can't be blocked unless they're all blocked. It's like a band. The banding. Don't touch other people's phones without permission, and be careful if you do. Oh, you never know what you're going to see. They continue to exist after they leave the battlefield. Are they tokens that continue to exist after they leave the battlefield? What? Okay, now, let's round it out. This has been a long one. Good job staying in for the long haul. So, these are creature types that we're going to see. You've got rat rogue, alien insect, clown, robot mime, dog employee, Beebles are back on the menu, frog guest, human hatificer assassin. Yes, a hatificer. He makes hats as artifacts. That's great. Alien squirrel, minotaur child guest, porcupine performer, dinosaur employee, zombie coward guest. There's a guest theme. There's a whole bunch. Plant mutant food, devil performer, human gamer. Oh, it's you guys. It's us. We're the gamers. Alien ooze, human pilot employee, elephant mouse performer, human clown artificer, and legendary artifact robot. So, those are all the creature types. Now, the actual spoilers start tomorrow. I'm hyped and ready to go. I have had enough of the bad news, and I am here for the good news. So, let's get hyped for Unspoiler season. I just put out a pack opening video over on my other channel. I'll link it up on the screen if you want to check it out, and I've been live streaming over there too, so come on by. Thanks for being here. Big shout out to all my patrons, and I will see you, my friends, in the next video.